Hello, one and all. Hello, my self-growth seekers, my therapy nerds, and anyone in the mental health field who wants to be not just good, but who wants to be great at the craft and the art of therapy. So welcome to Therapist Skills Training with Beth Miller. This is where we promise to teach you everything that you wish you had learned in graduate school and beyond, and where we will also create a community of therapists who learn and practice together, because here it is safe to not know everything. So I am Beth Miller. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I'm a certified life coach and energy healer. I do spiritual counseling. I am the owner of Positive Energy Holistic Counseling Center, and I'm the creator of the trademark model Advanced Holistic Counseling and Coaching. I've been a therapist for over 25 years, and I have been in the field for over 30. So that's what I'm bringing to the table today. This new Instagram Live and Facebook Live feature that I'm offering is part of our Holistic Counseling Institute, and this is meant to be free, zero cost, real information to help every therapist, new or veteran, to be their absolute best. So we're going live here every Tuesday night. On Instagram it's at 7:30, and on Facebook it's at 8 o'clock, and then also you can always watch it through the replay, and I hope you will. So before we get started, I am going to ask you kindly if you could please share this right now with any of your friends, your colleagues, your people out there, so they can get in on the fun too, and that's so that you can help them to level up their clinical skills as well. Part of tonight is going to be kind of validating where we all are, and then sort of setting the tone for where we're going. So let's talk about the intention of these live events and why I want to do therapist skills training live in this way. So first of all, I'd like to create some live interactive connections between therapists, between the community of therapists, but also people that are hoping to keep leveling up their skills. And I think all therapists want to level up their skills, whether you're a masterful veteran or brand new. I think we all really aim to do that. So the second goal, or the second intention, is to really help all of us to increase our clinical skills and our capabilities by using techniques, pro tips, guidance, skills, tools, experience, real life suggestions for real life therapeutic experiences that you have that will be coming from me, and very often will also come from some of you guys that are contributing at the same time. The point of this also is to provide a safe and non-judgmental and fun space where it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay not to know all the answers. And it's okay to offer ideas and solutions that help one another. We need to be able to have spaces where we're vulnerable, because in so many settings, we hold ourselves to the standards of really professionally, ethically, and therapeutically kind of knowing the right thing to do, or providing guidance to people, or making suggestions, or having ideas. And sometimes it's hard for us to be really vulnerable, that we don't know many things or everything, and we need to be able to have spaces where it's okay to know that it's okay that we might need some other techniques and support in order to be able to be the best clinicians that we could be. The other thing is that I am aiming with this to be able to kind of fill a gap that I think is out there. And that gap is the gap that exists between the education that we get, and also our expectations or hope or desire to be really great clinicians with our clients. We could talk a little bit about why that gap exists, or why I think it's there, and how we might actually fill it with supports like this, and where we can get free information and free clinical development. So let's talk a little bit about why we might need therapist skills training with Beth and other things like that. So therapists, I would say, want to be great at their job. I think they have their hearts in the right place. I don't think there's any therapist that ever really set out to be mediocre therapists. Every therapist wants to be able to provide the help and be the part of the team that is helping to create the change that the clients want, and aims to be able to help the client transform in whatever way they desire to. And so therapists really desire to do that. But let's be honest, there are, of course, mediocre therapists out in the field, and I don't think they want to be mediocre. I think they might not know how to have access to become better clinicians by being able to have the support and the clinical development that maybe we could provide. Also, let's be honest, our field can sometimes lack in actual clinical skill development. When we look at sort of the trajectory of the education that we get, everybody who's a licensed therapist has gone to grad school, and in grad school you learn theory, frameworks, models, ethics, really important stuff, really important frameworks, a lot of foundational things. But you may not always really be practicing how to do the work. It might be sort of the what of the work, but not always the how of the work. And I'm not blaming grad school for that. That may be all they can really fit into 2 years, and that's really essential information that they provide to us. And then I don't know about you, but if you reflect on things like your field work or when you first went out in the field, even with your first jobs in your career, you might have felt like it was kind of baptism by fire, right? Where you're learning kind of as you're going, and sometimes you're faking it, and sometimes you might have great people to ask, and sometimes you might not. Sometimes you might sort of pick up some bad habits that you don't even know are bad habits because you're just trying to be resilient and adapt to the work environment that you're in. Sometimes you might have, really been incredibly skillful and done a great job. So we don't always have somebody kind of sitting right next to us helping to drive that clinical bus. And even though we probably really do need somebody sitting next to us helping to drive that clinical bus. And then we have things like CEUs, it's wonderful that our field requires that we got a lot of continuing education, and it's so essential for us to be learning the most modern research or techniques. But CEUs tend to be data. It's basically information that we watch or we ingest in some way, but it's typically not intelligence. In other words, it doesn't really get integrated into us. It doesn't become a part of us. And so sometimes we just take notes when we're doing a CEU, and then maybe it goes in a folder and we get our credits for it, but it may not always be something that we practice. We may not always practice all of it and integrate it and have it become a part of our clinical skill set and part of our clinical development. And so that's just not something that most CEUs are built for. And then there's supervision, right? Clinical supervision. So if you are a person that got great clinical supervision, that has had a clinical supervisor that has actually provided those clinical services to clients, that really knows what they're talking about, that provides you with excellent support and a lot of guidance, a lot of strategies, techniques, then I implore you to go say thank you to them this week. Say thank you for being a great clinical supervisor. Thank you for all of the help that you provided to me, because clinical supervision is priceless in being able to help us to level up our skill set. At the same time, I would implore you to thank the setting that clinical supervisor is in, because that setting made a choice to value clinical supervision and how much it was going to offer to you. And so, thank the setting as well. Many of you, however, did not get great clinical supervision or haven't had continuous great clinical supervision over the years, meaning that maybe your clinical supervisor was maybe more admin focused. Maybe they were never a clinician themselves. Maybe they sort of do more administrative work. Maybe they checked off on all your C's because it was the right thing to do from their position, but not necessarily because they really do a lot of clinical work themselves, which I'm not blaming them for that. I'm just saying they may not have really been able to give you the type of information and support that would have really been helpful in up-leveling your clinical development, and that's just important for us to note. And lastly, let's sort of like truly appreciate how broad our field is. So, we all get sort of a similar degree, right? So like social work and mental health counseling and LMFTs and LPCs and maybe NPs that are doing some psych work. There's some foundational similarities about all of those. They may not be identical, and they're not identical per grad school. However, the jobs that we're doing are so incredibly broad and dramatically different. So one of you may be a school social worker, while another one of you might be doing brief grief counseling. Another one might be doing hospital discharge work. Another one of you might be working in a private practice on severe trauma. So my goodness, there's so many different ways that we're practicing our work that many of our jobs may sort of enable us to do what's in that lane, but it may not prepare us for doing sort of deeper therapeutic work or longer term work with our clients. Not that that's the goal of everybody, but very often with clinical skills, we have to be prepared to do that. So for many years now, I've had the great pleasure of being able to train a lot of therapists and be a part of that. And that's both in my group practice at Positive Energy Holistic Counseling and also in the 9-month certification program, Advanced Holistic Counseling and Coaching. And it has really just been an extraordinary pleasure to work with so many therapists that are really impressive in so many ways. Often through this process, I've gotten a really great education myself. I have learned a lot about what therapists need to feel confident, to be effective, to create profound transformations in themselves and with their clients. Learned what therapists need, what they know and what they don't know from the settings that they've come from, how their previous experiences have shaped them, where they need support. And so I am sort of bringing that curiosity to these live events where I'd like to create an interactive process with you. I'd like to co-create these trainings with you. And so in that, I would love for any of you, if you would like to tell us, I see your names here. I see Kelly, I see Margaret, I see Sinem, I see Esther. If you would like to tell us the setting and the population, the setting you're working in and the population you're working with, I'd love to hear from you about that so we know kind of who's here at the party. And also people that watch the replay, if you could put that in the comments as well. Because probably, what we have school social workers working in elementary schools. We have social workers working in acute psych units for adults. We have, social workers or mental health counselors working in group homes for teens who experience DV at home. We might have, case managers and therapists or NPs that are working in the prison system, providing support to incarcerated moms. I mean, our fields are incredibly broad, and that really is a neat feature of them. So one of the things I'd like to talk about is what are the consequences of not getting enough clinical practice and training, whether the consequences to ourselves or to our clients. And you're welcome to throw comments in there about what you think the consequences are. I'd love to hear from you. Some of them that come to mind for me is imposter syndrome, low confidence, feeling shame that you don't feel like you're enough or you're not quite sure what you're doing, fatigue, stress, anxiety, worry, inconsistent results with clients and kind of feeling like, oh, I got it. I don't think I got it. Client retention issues, not being able to retain your client and not being sure why. And by retain, I mean helping them to actually achieve their goals before they terminate therapy. Low productivity, or maybe being happy when clients cancel, which I think everybody has had that experience. And I see Margaret here saying she works for BOCES and EAP. Thank you, Margaret. Welcome, Margaret. It's so good to see you. And everybody else is welcome to add in too. How about loss of inspiration, loss of hopefulness, burnout, and not knowing how to help clients with particular challenges, client dissatisfaction, and maybe the client not actually achieving their goals because we either feel like we don't know how to help them or we really are sometimes missing the skills to be able to help them. And hi, Adriana, welcome. So let's talk about how these live therapist skills trainings are aiming to help. What would I like to do here to be able to fill in that gap? So each week I will be bringing a different clinical skill topic to the table. For about 20 to 25 minutes, I am going to talk about a case study or hot topics, common struggles, techniques, frameworks, skills, tools. And so I am going to come prepared with a curriculum. But this is a collaboration, okay? I want to collaborate with all of you. So hi, Amy. Amy's here. This is meant to be a living, breathing experience where we are all going to customize the material together based on what you actually want and what you actually need to learn and discuss. And since we have so many people with so much expertise here, I know the ideas of what people need and how we can help each other are going to be really vast. So to that point, here is my next question. And the next couple of questions are meant to get you thinking about your own experiences and also what you might really want or need to learn, or to gain more skill around, whether you're gaining it from me or somebody else that's in this community. So what do you wish that they taught you more about in grad school? What do you wish you had learned? What do you wish they had you practice more? What stumps you in sessions? What did you have a hard time with? Or what do you have a hard time with now? What do you feel shaky on when you work with clients? What makes you feel intimidated? What brings up your countertransference or your imposter syndrome? So anything that you can think of, and you're welcome to put those in the comments. I'd love to see it, because right away I'm going to start putting that into my curriculum. But the things that we wish we had learned more about, they were like, why didn't they teach us that when I was in grad school? Why didn't I learn these things? Or when we do learn them later, like, why didn't they teach us that? These are some of the thought-provoking questions that we want to start considering. And so some of those things might be how to structure sessions, how to deal with challenging clients, how to deal with the wide array of different types of resistance that there is, how to deal with anger, inconsistency, therapy interfering behaviors, boring clients, threatening clients, clients that don't participate, parents that are over or under involved in therapy, challenging issues, trauma, abuse, severe grief, clients' inconsistency, clients not paying for sessions or maybe objecting to pay for sessions, how to structure your schedule so it could be the most effective. I mean, I could think of so many things that we all would have learned to have loved. We would have loved to have learned had there been maybe enough space and time in grad school to do it. And here's my next question. Is for those of you who have been in therapy. Now, I love this question, and I hope you will too. Margaret says she's always looking to learn more, and oh, thank you, Margaret. Says I'm a good teacher. I appreciate that, Margaret. Okay, so for those of you who have been in therapy, in counseling, or in coaching, what do you wish your therapist had actually been better at? And it could be your current therapy. It could be therapy from the past. What do you wish they were more skilled at, more capable at, or had been better at? So some ideas might be you wish that they had kept you more on track, that they helped you achieve your goals more. Maybe you wish they had helped you keep from just venting every session and help you kind of get out of that rabbit hole. Maybe you wish they had more to offer than just asking, how does it make you feel? Maybe you wish they had been able to actually help you with your trauma, your background, your abuse. Maybe you wish your therapist had been able to actually help you with your substance abuse instead of sweeping it under the rug or just normalizing it. Maybe you wish your therapist had been able to talk to you more directly about self-harm or suicide or eating disorders that you may have had, but they weren't asking. Maybe you wish your therapist had really taught you ways to emotionally regulate versus just telling you to emotionally regulate. So I could think of a million things that people have told me over the years that they wish that their therapist had helped them with. And so I encourage you to start thinking about that. What do you wish your therapist had really been able to help you with? And they may have helped you with everything, but if there's anything that you wish had been done better, keep that in mind, because that's really good information for you and for us about the things we may need to learn in our clinical development. And then there might also be a list of like, what do you wish they didn't do, right? Like, Therapists are very imperfect people. Some of us have bad habits sometimes, and sometimes we don't even realize that they're bad habits. Do you wish your therapist didn't break your confidentiality when they spoke to your mom when you were a teenager in therapy? Or do you wish that they didn't go on vacation for 3 weeks at a time? Or that they kept your sessions regular instead of moving them around in the schedule so much? Or do you wish that they didn't talk about themselves so much? Or do you wish that they didn't take calls from their kids? Do you wish that they didn't just sit there quietly and that they added more to the conversation? Whatever comes to mind for you, that's what's important. And then here is my last question to sort of help make this the most interactive process as we're going forward as a group, as a tribe that's going to be here to learn and practice together, which is, what do you know you want to learn more about? How can I serve you? How can we all serve each other? What do you want? What do you need? How can I help? So do you want to learn how to make your sessions deeper? Do you want to know why you're not retaining your clients? Do you know what your clients actually want from you? Do you want to know, do boundaries differ depending on the population, the therapeutic issues, or the setting? Or are boundaries always the same? Do you want to know if, like, how would you know if what's happening in the session is your agenda or the client's agenda? Do you want to know how to really manage your countertransference that's coming up about some of your clients or maybe many of your clients? Do you want to know what to do with parallel processes that you have, with resistance, which is we see all day, all the time in our sessions? How about with our own resistance? Do you want to know how to deal with money with your clients? There's so much that we can be learning and be talking about. And welcome, Michelle. Welcome, Kim. Thanks so much for joining us. So my goal is that every week, so that we can actually really integrate each week's skills and tools that we're going to be teaching here, that every week I'd like to suggest a practice assignment for you. And you don't have to do it. There's no judgment if people don't do it. I won't even know if you don't do it. But it's more like we can actually integrate the things that we learn more if we have a way of practicing them and trying them on and seeing what they're like. And so each week I'm going to give you a practice assignment. And this would be to do a couple of things. It's going to be a way for you to observe yourself and your clients. It's going to be a way for you to actually practice a skill or a tool and put it into action and see what happens. It will be a way for you to gain more insights into your strengths, into your challenges, and sort of tap into your own greatness. I am going to suggest that you get a notebook. I think if you're a big nerd like me, you probably do like to keep all of your things in one place and be able to kind of work on these things. But if not, of course, if you don't prefer to have a notebook, you might have another way that you want to sort of think about and write down or keep what your experiences are like over the course of the week. And so for this week, the practice assignment is, hi Patsy, thanks for joining us, is for you to keep a running list in your phone or in your notebook of every moment in your sessions with your clients that you noticed, that you wished you knew the answer, you wished you knew how to proceed, you wished you had a tool or skill that would help, you had a moment where you're like, I don't know what to do better in this moment, or your client wished you did better, that you have you keep a list of all of those tiny moments or those big moments when you're just not sure. Because that information that you keep, that you collect over the week, is going to help us to shape the curriculum that we are going to be teaching going forward. All of the ideas that you share with me are things that I'm going to build curriculums around. So if there's things that you want to know, I'm going to build curriculums around them. Hi, Patsy. Hello. And I'm excited about that. I want to tailor this for whatever everybody actually needs. And then, of course, I have like a list this long of all of the things that I'm ready and prepared to bring to the weekly training as well. So every Tuesday, 7:30 on Instagram, 8 o'clock on Facebook. I will be here. I'll be here for about 20-25 minutes that we'll train together. And I am going to ask you to please share this with your people. Share it with your therapists, friends, with your colleagues, with the people interested in mental health. And just say, hey, it's free. She's just showing up and teaching about things that could be helpful to all of us to up-level our skills. And, Beth would like everybody to contribute as much as possible so that she's really tailoring this so that we're all benefiting from it. I will always be learning as much from you as you would be learning from me. And so I really ask you to share it with others, and because it's the more the merrier. And it's going to make it a really rich and wonderful process. I wish you a wonderful week of inspiring, successful therapy. I truly appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining all of us today. And I hope I see every single one of you next week. And